Welcome everybody to the third annual Public Speaking Forum, Secondary 3. We have very brave teams here from 3A, 3B, 3C, and 3D, and 3E. And you may notice that they have all been rewarded already for volunteering. They all have Lycée packets which contain book tokens. So before we even begin, you are all winners. Yay! So, the speakers you see in each team are not necessarily the best speakers in each class, but they are the bravest. Why? Because they're here. So, they all win a prize for being the bravest students in each of your classes. Okay? Well done. And the next teams. So, without further ado, I'll just remind you of the rules. Number 1, you can use your note card as prompts for your speech, but don't rely too much on it. Remember, public speaking is about communicating with your audience, okay? Remember that. Eye contact with your audience is important, but you can use your note card. In the second part, you really won't have notes, so it won't matter. Secondly, you will have a maximum of 2 minutes. You can stop before that, but this will sound in 2 minutes. When this sounds, please stop your speech, because time is very limited, okay? And you all want to leave here before 10:30. So, when you finish your speech, if you hear doot, 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 don't just stop, say, okay, time's up, thank you. And then you can sit down. Okay? But we practiced. Okay, without further ado, in order, it will be 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 3E. We'll have one speaker from each team will speak, then sit down, then 3B, their first speaker will speak. Then 3C, their first speaker. Okay? And the first speaker, the topic you'll see here, I hope is, no, you can't see here actually. The first speaker, their topic is causes of poverty, okay? The second speaker, their topic will be what the government can do about poverty. And the third speaker, their topic will be what we can do, what all of us can do to help people who are not as lucky as ourselves or people who are poorer than ourselves in our society. As you know, Hong Kong is a very rich place, but we also have many poor people. So what can we do to help these people, okay? So, without further ado, I will now, as moderator, call on the first speaker for 3A to speak. Thank you very much. Okay. You have 2 minutes starting now.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vivian. Today, we are going to talk about a very hot topic, poverty. Do you think Hong Kong is a very poor city? Actually, poverty is the condition of people who lack income and wealth. And poverty can be divided into two parts, absolute poverty and relative poverty. Let me talk you about some of the causes of the poverty. To begin with, the government haven't provided enough welfare. The senior citizen cannot get enough sponsor from the government after they retired, and they cannot save enough money for their remaining life. So it's caused elderly poverty, and the government haven't gave enough support for the poor family. Moreover, since there is a serious inflation in Hong Kong, the serious inflation is larger than the increase of the salary. So the employee cannot buy enough food and things with their salary. So this causes poverty happens. And furthermore, poverty in Hong Kong is caused by the changing of economy in Hong Kong. Hong Kong changed from the industrial city to a financial city. So the low education level people cannot get enough jobs, such as the workers and the workers. So they may become unemployed. So they will have no income and poverty happens. Thank you.
Thank you to speaker number 1 from Team 3A. As you know, it's always most difficult to be the first, so you did a great job. Okay, I'll now call on speaker number 1, the first speaker, talking about the causes of poverty from 3B. Thank you. You have 2 minutes when you're ready, please. Thank you.
Good morning. Nowadays, we always hear the problem of poverty is very serious. But do you know why poverty exists? The cause of poverty is mainly because the economic system has changed a lot. This makes the inflation become more and more serious. Everything's become expensive. The high living standard nowadays makes many people find it difficult to adapt to it. Besides, the unemployment rate increased a lot because the old education make people find difficult to study well. So many people cannot find a better job for their living. And also, the labor force, their wage is very low. It is not enough for their basic needs. Moreover, the elder policy for the retired elderly is not enough. The elderly cannot maintain their life easily with their own saving because they do not have any income. Also, the unequal distribution of resources in things force poverty hegemony become more and more serious. The poverty hegemony makes the price of the flat keep increasing, and many people can't afford buying the expensive flats. But last but not least, lack of long comprehensive child policy. This makes a vicious cycle, so there will be more and more underprivileged children. So these are the causes of poverty. Thank you.
Thank you, 3B. And I call on the first speaker for 3C to make her speech about the causes of poverty. Thank you. You have, sorry. 2 minutes starting now when you're ready.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sukilo. Today, I want to share 2 main causes about poverty of you. I think some people are not well educated because of intergenerational poverty. Because they live in poor family, so they don't have enough resource like learning material that will affect their school result. Then when they grow up, they maybe can only do the low skill job, and then their salary is very low, that can't afford their daily costs. Second, I think the policy for solve the poverty problems are not useful. Let me take comprehensive social security assistance as an example. Although it have a money of allowance, the application process is inconvenient and the application condition is too harsh. Therefore, I think the policy can help some people who are living in poverty. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, 3C. And I call on the first speaker for 3D. Just a reminder, you can take notes you have some rough notes, but you can take extra notes if the speakers make any extra points that are not covered in the summary. Okay, now 3D, when you're ready, you will have 2 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to talk the cause of the poverty. First, I would like to talk the main reason of the poverty. The main reason of the poverty is the unemployment. Some people are unemployed because they are low academic qualification. They do not have any job. They do not have the income, so they cannot. They do not have the job, they do not have the income, so they are poor. Second, some people are moved from their country to the other country. They cannot know how to find their job, and they have some communication problems. Third is some teenagers just graduated, and some boss will think that they are not meeting standard. They do not have any experience, so they cannot get a job. Fourth, some parents are very poor. They cannot give their children enough resource. This is an example of intergenerational of poverty. The last thing I want to talk is the government cannot help them enough. Thank you.
D. Now call on the last of the first speakers for 3E. When you're ready, please begin your speech. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Shelley Lam from 3E. Today I would like to talk about the cost of property. First, I think the most important of the cost of property is about low education. Because when we can see that nowadays still have some place don't have education. For example, Africa. The children cannot get education and then they can't get a job, and if they can get a job but they still have low salary and they can't get the work easily and they will be very poor. The next cause of poverty I think is economic problem. For example, unemployment and inflation. The inflation problem is very serious in nowadays. For example, in the market, the price of the things will very high, and the people can't buy the things easily because they can't have the enough money. For the last, I think the natural disaster is the cause of poverty too. For example, flooding and earthquake. The people were hurt in the earthquake, and they use the money to buy the medicine, and they have no other money to live later. Thank you.
So thank you to all the first speakers. We now move on to the second part of the topic about poverty, the second focus. The first was causes of poverty. The second will be what the government can do. We're talking about solutions to poverty. What can the government do about poverty? Okay? And I'll call in the second speaker for 3A. Can you get ready, please? You now have a maximum of 2 minutes to speak. Okay? When you're ready, please begin. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jasmine Wong from 3A. Today, I would like to talk about what the Hong Kong government has done with the poverty problems. Firstly, Hong Kong government has been building a lot of public housing for the poor people. For this, they can enjoy a cheaper rent. Secondly, to take care of their physical and emotional problems, the Social Welfare Department provides counseling services. It proves that help with their emotional, family, caring, and interpersonal relationship problems. Last but not least, Hong Kong government offers financial assistance to help with their daily lives. For example, free medical charges, pay the rental for them, and to waive school fees for their children. These are some of the examples which our government has done for the poor people. Thank you all, and this is the end of my presentation.
I'll call on 3B, second speaker, to talk about what the government can do to solve this problem of poverty, or what the government has done. Okay, when you're ready, please begin. Thank you. Maximum 2 minutes.
Teaching people how to fish instead of giving them fish. Education is the very first step in reducing poverty. The government ought to provide free and high-quality education to our next generation in order to end the vicious cycle of poverty. As for the adults in poverty, the government can provide sponsorships for them to pursue further education, or encourage employers to provide their employees retraining programs through advertising. Our resources are limited but unevenly distributed. However, we can't just force the money away from the rich like the Communist Party did. Therefore, in order to achieve the goal in redistributing resources equally, the government can increase the taxes for rich people and use them to launch more projects to reduce poverty. That does the Chinese idiom, return the wealth to the people. For the basic needs of poor people, such as money, food, and housing, the government can give a welfare to the underprivileged people, increase the amount of public housing for them. As for food, the government can set up more food banks. Like in Hong Kong, we have food banks, and we donate money. We donate food for the poor people. And if the government can do all these work, the effect will
Sorry,
be
your time is up. 2 minutes.
done
So
sooner or later. Thank you.
thank you very much. Okay. Thank you to the second speaker from 3B. We now move on to 3C. You will speak about what the government can do about poverty. You have a maximum, and I'm sorry, I have to stop speakers if they go over 2 minutes. Time is very tight. I apologize for that. Okay, so second speaker from 3C. Thank you. Please, when you're ready.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to talk about what the government can do about poverty. To begin with, I think the government needs to set up a poverty line to identify the groups who are living below the poverty line, so that they can receive money from the comprehensive social security assistance. Secondly, the government can provide a better education for the people in poverty so that they would not find job without any difficulty. Moreover, the government can ask the rich to pay more tax to narrow the wealth gap. Last but not least, the government needs to provide more subsidies for the children in poverty whose parents are unemployed, so they don't need to worry about the fees of school. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, 3C. Now moving on, 3D, could your second speaker tell us something about what the government can do to solve the terrible problem of poverty? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Yan Wang from 3D. Today, I'm going to talk about poverty. Poverty is said of the one who lives of a certain amount of material possession or money. There are two types of poverty. There is absolute poverty and relative poverty. About Gini coefficient, over 1.4 is big difference. Over 0.6 is wild gap. In Hong Kong, poverty population is over 1.2 million. I think the government should effectively solve the problem about poverty, such as inequality in wealth distribution. The government also consults poverty line to take care of poor people in public welfare and other living allowance. Thank you.
Thank you, 3D. And now moving on to the last of the second speakers from 3E. You will have a maximum, I repeat again, maximum of 2 minutes to make your speech. When you're ready, please. Thank you.
Now I'm going to talking about what the government can do for poverty. Firstly, the government should build more food banks, and the poor can buy a lunch box of $15. It is cheap and mitigate the burden of their economic. With housing, the government can build more public housing, and so that the poor can have lower rent and reduce the economic burden. If the poor think that above suggestion is unrealistic, then the government can give the money to them and they can buy themselves. They can buy the food by themselves. Those poverty are almost elderly, and the elderly are always sick, so that the government should enhance medical security. Each month can give 10 medical coupons worth of 500. It can improve their life and their health. Also, the poor people are always unemployment. Therefore, the government should increase employment opportunities. It can increase their income and improve their economic. What's more, the government also should give more education for poor. Although the students have 12 years free education, it is not comprehensive because the students have other learning experience. They need the money to join a lot of activities, so that the government should give more money for education. If the government do well, it can improve the poverty. Thank you.
Thank you to all the second speakers. Great job. And now on to the final section of part one, which is the prepared speech. And we move on to another aspect of poverty, which is not what the government can do, but what we all can do. Okay? So we've talked about the causes of poverty, and now we've talked about what the government can do, but as we say, charity begins at home. What can we do about poverty? So the third speakers will speak about this topic. As I say, you have some notes, so you can take your own notes and extra notes, and you can do it for your SAL, okay? So, when could I ask the last speaker, the third speaker, last but not least, from 3A to give your speech. Maximum 2 minutes. Go.
Good morning, everybody. These days, the problems of poverty is getting more serious. To solve this case, the government of different countries has taken action to, apart from those actions that are done by the government, we should also do something for the poor. Firstly, we could donate money to the charity, and those charities would spirit those money to help the poor. The charity can reduce the poverty problems by education, because education is the most efficient way to help them. It can show those who are poverty-ridden that they have opportunities to better themselves. Besides, we could donate clothes. We could always see a yellow bus appear in our apartment. We could donate some old clothes over there. It can help others, and it is really environmentally friendly. So it's kill two birds with one stone. It's a really good idea. Furthermore, we could donate food to the food bank. Honestly, the food supply in the food bank isn't enough, so we should take action to provide food for them. Food bank can really help the poor. It provides food for each parties or person enough food for 6 weeks. We can support them by donate food. In addition, we have to care them more so that they could feel the love of us. We can also let them to know they are not alone. We will always support us. To my mind, I think fortune is not a must. We should treasure it. If not, we'll regret inasmuch the things that we are enjoying and everybody owning it. From the situation above, these are the situations that can decrease their daily expenditure. So we should support those who in need. I hope you all can get ideas from my sharing. Thank you.
A. Now, 3B, your final speaker on what we can do about poverty. Thank you. Maximum 2 minutes. Go.
There are lots of things that the government can do to help the poor, but how about us? We can try to experience the poor living condition and their daily lives. Then we can know their difficulties and use our experience to help them in different ways. But of course, we need to show our care and don't look down on them. Because when we don't use our heart and patience to help them, we can't help them directly. We can also support the food bank. We can donate the food to the food bank and help them and let them have the food to eat. Just a bit can help them a lot. Besides donating food, donate clothes and books also can help them. Furthermore, be supportive to the government policy is very important because the government can do a lot of things that help the poor. Last but not least, study hard and don't be one of them can definitely ease the tension of poverty. Thank you.
Thank you. 3B. So moving on to 3C, the third and final speaker on what we can do about poverty. When you're ready, maximum 2 minutes.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to choose 3 points for talking about what we can do about poverty. First of all, we should be more considerate towards the people in need. For example, donating food to the food bank and use clothes to charities. Moreover, we can show our support and love by doing voluntary work. For example, helping poor children with their homework and giving our old book to them. And we can teach children who are living in poverty or intergenerational poverty children. We can help them for doing some teeny and simple work. Last but not least, we should not discriminate against poor people, and we should also voice our opinions on poverty. Let everyone know and pay attention to help the people who living in poverty lines. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, 3C. Now, the last speaker from 3D. When you're ready, please tell us what you think we can do to solve the problem of poverty. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Today I would like to share the title of What Can We Do for Poverty. First, let me tell you two famous charities in Hong Kong. The first one is World Vision. This is an international Christian relief development organization dedicated to partnering with communities worldwide to tackle the cause of poverty and injustice and help them to achieve their full potential, etc. And the second one is the People Food Bank. We can donate food tools, equipment to food bank, and they will donate it to the people who are in need. And so we can donate money and recyclable to World Vision when there are some events in World Vision. We can also donate food to People Food Bank, and because there are no age limit. And also when we were 18 years old, we can also be a volunteer of food bank or World Vision too. So these are the suggestions of we can do for poverty. So the finally things I want to say is the issue of poverty in Hong Kong is getting serious. So let us solve it together. Thank you.
Thank you, 3D. And finally, last but not least, the final speaker of the first round, speaking about what we all can do about poverty. When you're ready, you have maximum of 2 minutes, please.
Good morning, I'm Karen. Now I'm going to talk about what can we do for the poverty. We know that nowadays the poverty rates of Hong Kong are very high. Therefore, we should do something for them. We should lend a helping hand on them too. We should donate money for them and to the charity. We can donate our old clothes for them so that they do not have to put lots of money for buying their clothes. Second, I think we can do more voluntary work, like such as we can selling flats or we can visit their homes. When we visit their homes, we can give out lunch boxes so that we can share the food with them so that they do not have to pay lots for them too. We can share our things with them so that they will be more happier, and also we can help them to clean their home too. Last but not least, I think we can teach them some life skills. They can do things by themselves and without other helps. We should be kind to help them too. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all the speakers from the first round. You all did a great job. And as I say, you are very brave to volunteer to be the first people to speak. And in the second round, you are brave, but I think in the second round is more challenging. They are probably a little bit braver because they won't be able to prepare their speeches. But wonderful job by all speakers. Give them a big round of applause. Thank you.